Hi, here we are. This was sort of like a a unscheduled live. So I'm not sure what it'll turn out like. If people show up, great. If they don't, that's fine. But I would certainly appreciate. We'd like to talk about a couple of different things, I guess. Um, I'm getting a little bit of peace and quiet right now. We have an entire household of people. You'll notice I'm actually blogging from our living dining kitchen area instead of my office bedroom. I have Arlen's father, her brother, her adopted sister, and then the two nieces of uh, her younger sister. So it's a house full, and it's a house full with two kids that go 1,000 miles an hour. That's for sure. But what I want to talk when we'll wait a couple of minutes for the room to get going, and Mike's here or has been in here. Mike's Philippine Journey. Andy Omar showed up. Hey, Andy, how are you this morning? Tim Husk showed up. How you, Tim? Farsight, nice to see you. Magandang mga. Mark, how are you? Hope things are going well. A Joe named Mike, always fun to have a house full. Oh, I'll tell you. Hey, Elvis. Yeah, it's I actually have a video that's going to come out. Um, Many of you may not be in this situation, but some people are. Um, you know, they've grown up, they've gotten older, they're not around kids anymore. Being around a 5 year old and a 7 year old has been a unique experience for the last 24 hours. That's for sure. Hey, Moon River, how are you? Glad you could join us. So, I guess, we've got 20 plus in the room. First off, if you made it to the format of the live stream that we did yesterday, that was highly moderated with a panel. Now, I realize John did not show up, but that's not what this is about. Okay? What did you think about that? Did you think that that was a fair and um, reasonable situation? Man, yes, I can fully understand John's position. He wants to move forward, not get involved, and that's his choice. I have no problem with that. Andy says the only kid I tolerate is mine. Rest can F off. No apologies. Tony Manning showed up. Steve McBong, get some decent clothes. You don't like my clothes? Really? I'm sorry, Steve. Huh. Don't usually get people to complain about how I dress, but I guess that's fine. Tim. This is emojis. Mike. Let's see here. Please take down that picture. It's totally distracting. I can't take it down. It's literally fixed to the wall. All right. I did have it covered earlier because of the kids, but I thought it was less tacky to have it uncovered. I can certainly, if people are offended by it, just type one and I will readjust the camera. Actually, here, let me just do that. How's that? Maybe that should make it a little less. A Joe named, I'm that dude, had all my kids into adulthood and then didn't do it again, and then did it again in my 40s. Now they're 4 and 6. I'll tell you, Joe, at my age, 60 plus, okay, these kids have enough energy to just wipe you out. Ruby, how are you, Ruby? Thank you for joining. So nice of you to drop by. Brewmeister, nice to see you. Kenny, nice to see you again. Thank you for joining the panel yesterday. Ricky Last, good morning, Ricky. Mark says my clothes look good to me. Elvis, your clothes are fine. Man says, do you remember Peter Van Dever? No, the name strikes a bell, but offhand, no, man, I do not. That's his bait, Mark. Okay, that's my bait. What is the name of your intro song, Kaiser? It is LA Drives You Crazy by Snake City. It's in the description. So you can look down there, get all of our music from Epidemic Sound. Joe says, I love the picture. Mark says, just kidding about the picture. So, in either event, I'm still interested to see. We got a tremendous response for the live. It's currently pacing at 1,300 views in less than 24 hours. And we got a tremendous amount of feedback by email. And so I want to know what our routine people that show up think about it. Was it a fair and balanced method? Do you appreciate the ability to separate the name calling in the chat? The chat is the only place we really have a considerable amount of control over. All right. Andy, my pants are hurting. You know what, Andy? You got to lay off those Big Macs, okay? Scott in the world as I see it. How you doing, Scott? Are you back in the States now? I haven't seen you around here. Scott was just recently visiting and stayed here at Candy Palace. So, but yes, do you think that format brings? And if you think that format is a good format, is different than what you see, rather than having some of these wild, off the rail types of live streams, who would you like to see us invite as a guest? So in other words, our panel will rotate, and we'll also have an open period to allow others in, so that anybody that wants to come into the panel can. But who would you like to see as our guests? Ruby says, feedback on the debate. Identify the topic in advance so people can be prepared for their views. Likewise, limit the people on the panel for more cohesive debate. Yeah, and Ruby had the topic showed up. We identified the topic, but had the topic shown up, it would have been that way. It would have been just Mike and John. So because it wasn't, we continued with a live. It went off topic, obviously, because I just didn't feel like talking about John without him being there to defend himself. So we carried on with just a open situation. Brian 300, hi, Mike from the Bay Area. Nice to see you, Brian. Scott says, the world as I see it, I'll be back in July. Peter Perg, the picture behind Mike is hot. Yeah, she's one of the models that did a lot of modeling for the photographer that shot the photos of Candy Resorts. He means peck, Johnny. I know that word. So Ruby's given some feedback, but what about the rest of you? Who all would you like to see us bring in? And we will attempt to invite them to come and participate. And what topics would you like to see covered? We know quite a few people that are highly experienced and educated in certain topics, and we can figure out where we go with it. I think that's probably the best way to put it. So, invite Paul in the Philippines, old dog, new trick. Certainly, I would invite Paul. I highly doubt he would come to a channel as small as ours. I really and truly do, but you never know. Certainly, Paul would be a person we'd invite. I liked the give format. Yeah, I liked the format. Tim and Mog would be a banger. Yeah, but again, I'm not sure. First off, Tim has absolutely no reason, and it's not. I don't want us to turn into a bloodbath live stream. It's great for entertainment. Sure, I understand that. Could there be some give and take? Could there be an adult response? Sure. But would they stick to an adult response? I'm not sure. Elvis, best places to live. Okay, that could be a topic. Farsight, ask Calvin. Oh, I will indeed invite Calvin. I'll invite Calvin. I'll invite old Paul, old dog. I have a list of about 20 that I'm going to send invitations to. Kenny says, I think it was good. The show is fluid. So some topics may lead to others. I absolutely understand. Invite Philly. Well, I don't know that he's a crybaby, and Philly is actually a moderator in this channel. If he has time to show up and it's of interest to him, great. If not, we'll see. Age gap relationships. Ruby would like to add to it. Okay, that's not a problem, Ruby. We can add that. Maybe we can find a younger Filipina. That would be interesting to get. We're going to invite some of the Filipina bloggers as well. So I think it was a good show last night, the format. Thank you, Tim. Might as well invite Geo. Well, we can certainly put him on the list. Ballcap Casey. Yes, I know Ballcap Casey's channel. All right. I'm not so sure what he would bring, but if you guys want to see him, why not? Actually, Mike and Robert would be a really nice duo. I like Robert, and for sure Robert is on my list. And Robert doesn't know it, but he's actually a moderator in this channel also. I added him to the moderator list. Invite Rike. He can teach you how to pick up chicks at the Mercado. Okay. I guess Rike could go on there. Elvis says no to Geo. He doesn't want that. City life versus province life for retirement living. Yes, Ruby, that would be a good one if we could get some guys that are actually deep in the province. For instance, Ruby, I don't consider a city of 50,000 plus to be the province, but maybe other people feel differently. So we'll see it. Things to do in Angeles besides walking street. Wow, that's a pretty big list. All right, maybe we could get Philly, Ace Bachelor Cool, and a couple of others. Andy knows Angeles quite well also. Andy, the Mercado beckons us. Every man has a story, but he will start asking you a bunch of personal info. You know what? Nobody has to answer. Nobody's got a gun to their head making them answer. So we'll see. Izzy and Chris, nice fridge. Is that one of those see-through screens? Yeah. Yeah, you touch the glass and it lights up inside, shows you everything that's in that area. It's a nice fridge. I can't complain. We bought it when it was on sale. Eric is a great guy. I would love to have Eric on, actually. I just don't know if he has the time, but he's one of the guys I would certainly um, consider it. A realtor would also be cool, especially for higher end condos. I'm not real sure. I got to be honest, Farsight. Um, I don't. You know what? I'll put it on the list. It would have to be a realtor that isn't biased, and that's hard to come by. Sense of Style, there's a Filipina channel. It's a small channel, but it's been around for a while. Who is it that you're considering, Sense of Style? For me, city life is a minimum of 200K population, complete with all the amenities. So, Ruby, I just don't see it like that. I mean, we're going to have to agree to disagree. I mean, if you have a city of 50,000 where you have a McDonald's, you have multiple 7-Elevens, you have multiple hotels, you have restaurants, you have Jollibee. I'm not so sure I would call that the province, but, whatever. What I've noticed, according to Tim, what I've noticed about some of the Filipino is they're going down a slippery slope of hearts and eggplants intended. It cheapens their channel. Well, maybe they'd like to talk about it. Mira K, ask a Filipina, Pine in Japan. Yeah, but isn't Mira K in Japan? They're not really in the Philippines. What's the cost of condos in different places? That's a tough one. My question regarding the moral issue of older expats and younger Filipinos was misinterpreted, but made for a very good conversation, I thought. Everything can make for a conversation. You know what? Just because somebody said something doesn't mean it's a bad thing. BT and Betty in the house. Thank you. Andy Omar, City Boys versus Simps. Okay, Andy. Maybe you could give us a little bit more deeper idea of what you mean. California, El Regio y la China, a Mexican expat living in Mindanao, Zamboanga province with his wife. Been following him since last year. El Regio y la China, huh? Okay. We can certainly take a look at that. That's for sure. Two extremes, toxic versus simps. But that would then require that we represent that in the panel. See, that's the whole idea behind what we're doing. I don't want to have a room full of people bashing people that aren't there to defend themselves. I want people to be able to feel comfortable enough to defend their position and opinion. That's what's more important, I think. I think we get a lot more out of it that way. Mira K is from Angeles City and sometimes works as an OFW in Japan. Okay. All right. We'll take a look at it and send an invite. 51 in the house. 52. Oh, wow. Thank you, Peter. Absolutely. That's pretty good. 20 minutes in for this little channel. Izzy, the issue has been going on in even the early 1900s of Philippine history. Yeah, it has. All right. In fact, it has, and not just in the Philippines. Okay. Not just in the Philippines, but what's the difference in city and province? Yes, we've already gotten that. That's on my list. Not bashing more on how they treat women. Some make them work for the attention. Oh, you know what, Andy? That's maybe a position that you could take and you could defend. BT and Betty. Yeah, BT has a channel. Drop by. He's in the province of Pampanga. Absolutely. He drops by Angeles once in a while. It's only about, I think, about an hour's drive from downtown Angeles. Izzy and Chris. Ruby, true. But 230's son is very popular, the mayor of Davao. They have a huge following. I'm here in Davao, and his son is treated like a god. Well, his father used to be the president. I mean, I think he's going to be treated pretty damn good, especially in his hometown and his father's hometown. That I can certainly see and understand. Oh, Mike made it back in. Hey, Mike, and the chat. So, Mike, we're talking about a lot of different future topics, but, and people to invite. And we have like a lot of the usual suspects, Old Dog, Every Man Has a Story, Philly in the Philippines. But there have been some newer ones too, Mira Kay, and a couple of others. So invite a trike driver whose wife lives with a foreigner. That would be interesting. Now, Brian, where the hell do you think I'm going to find that? I tell you what, you introduce me to that trike driver, and I'll be happy to ask them. ER80 just became a member. Oh, my gosh. Well, thank you so much, Era. All right. Thank you. I actually just did a video for the members only section. I don't do it anywhere near as often as I should, but thank you. Certainly appreciate it. BT and Betty, Philippine Adventures, Mike's. Andy, are you still out of town? At Andy Omar. So, I want to get a panel. You would have me and Mike, and a guest, and some different views, and then have the chat where the people can actually respond. But something that's going to be a variable. Mike, I think it's a great idea. I really and truly do. I think it's going to be fun and informative, but it's also going to be based on getting people that are willing to do it. And the only way we can make it happen is if they feel comfortable expressing themselves in the live. And that's why we're going to go very strict on the moderation. We're just not going to allow people in the chat room to biasly just bash. It's not going to happen. California Bears thing, Tom and Ruth's Adventures. I've seen their blogs before. That's certainly a possibility. I can put them on the list as well. That's not a problem. Let's see here. So yeah, I think that's a good thing. I just did a video this morning. Oh, Ruby, as an expat moving to the Philippines, what is on your checklist in determining where you're going to settle and why? Now, that might be interesting, Ruby, because we might be able to get some guys from other countries that have not moved here yet. and what are their expectations. That's actually an excellent, excellent idea. We might be able to do that. I would love to watch Filipinas Sancho's side of the story and how they lay the pipe while her boyfriend is away. Look, you know what? If this is, either be realistic or just leave. One or the other. If you want me to ban you, I will. But, don't be proposing preposterous crap. Mark says, I think if you want entertainment value, letting random viewers in to express their opinion works. The spontaneity is intriguing. Moderating is critical. Yes, Mark, I agree. I think you have to let people join the panel that are in the actual live. I would really be willing to be a guest, been there 25 times. Email me. There you go. Have a nice day. Send me an email, Our Philippine Journey at gmail.com, and we'll put you in the list. How about Mike and Alawai talking in Tagalog? He wishes. I don't know who Alawai is. Are you talking about Aloe the Winter? I don't think so. I don't know. I don't know who that is. But apparently Mike does, so we'll go from there. Tom Yen Lechon and Calvin to be guests on your channel. That would break Philippine expat YouTube community for a day or so. That might be interesting. I can invite either and both of them, but you have to have realistic desires. We can invite them, but you have to play, there are those of you that would love to be married to a rich supermodel. The likelihood of that happening is extremely low. Maybe I'll need a manager to work on my behalf for my ideas if they are successful. Patent. Sure, Ruby. Why not? Why not? Maybe it'll be time to start your own channel. So we'll see. So somebody just sent me a Instagram page of Ivana Alawa. I imagine she's some famous model here. Somebody just sent me a Instagram on it. So 17 million followers. I got a feeling she's not going to answer our email. Steve Montelli and Ricky Drama. I know Ricky Drama, sick grandpa, but I don't know Steve Montelli. Does anybody want to tell me why we should bring him in? Heading to Manila. Andy's staying busy. Andy, I'm heading down to San Fernando late this afternoon. We're going to be taking the kids down to whatever that park thing is where all the rides are. So, but I don't know. I mean, we want there to be some reason for discussion. We want there to be different degrees of opinions, but we want it to be a mature representation of supporting your opinions. Not yours, but whoever that person is. We want it to be fair. We want it to be, I think John would have been really surprised at how the live would have gone yesterday. Brian 300 says, I'd be a good invite, Mike. I was stationed at Subic from 86 to 90. I got thousands of stories of what it was like back in the good old days. Well, Brian, you know what? Send me an email. All right. If you're interested in being a part of the panel one day, send me an email. I'll send you the rules because trust me, there's a set of rules to get on the panel. Hi, Mike from Kenny. Is Steve Montelli still making those minimalist wallets? I don't know the guy. I couldn't answer. Let's see here. Our Philippine. Oh, here. Wait. This would be. There we go. All right. Our email address is right up there in our business card up in the top left corner. So you can save this, go back and view it, stop it, open it, do whatever you want. All right. Our Philippine Journey at Gmail. So BT, see when you see, then Andy, going to be in town a bit, was wanting to meet you. Maybe next time. When you invite set what topics are, when you invite set what the topics are and parameters, which I figure you already thought of that. You know what? The parameters may be a little different depending on what the topic is, because some topics we may have people that are more contentious that are willing to talk about it, but anybody, they'll get an email about it. So Steve travels more now, says don't do much YouTube. Okay. Steve Montelli still has a wallet channel and Philippines channel. He's been on YouTube since 2015. He probably made 30 trips to the Philippines. Well, good for him. All right. Sometimes we would need to separate people who visit the Philippines versus people who live in the Philippines, because those are two totally different things. When you live here, living in the Philippines is much different than being on vacation. Are You Beautiful and Mike? Well, yeah. We can invite Are You Beautiful? We can invite the P. I don't care who we invite. Will they respond? I just don't know. Expats having children or not in their 60 plus. Yes, that's that was one that I already had on my list. But thank you, Ruby. Absolutely. Absolutely. Oh, it's so nice. It's quiet here right now. You know, these two kids are literally driving me crazy. It has been an interesting 24 hours, and it's going to be an interesting additional 2 days. So, but it makes you value what you haven't seen in so long. I haven't been around small children other than when I go to the province in forever. So watching them become amazed has been interesting. BT says, I'm in Santa Ana out near Mount Orion. There you go. So there's some topics, and there's some suggestions of different people we could consider. That's for sure. While I won't be drama free, it certainly will be limited to being fair. Scott in the world is a few people that actually live there and the differences in their budgets. Yeah, and there is. And, you know, I would invite Philippine Antics. I would invite Far East Poppy. I would invite, Philly, Ace Bachelor Cool, and a couple of others. So, I mean, because I think it's good for everybody. Bill Welsh. Hi, Mike and everybody. Hello, Bill. Thanks for joining. Hope you're doing well. That's why you have grandkids, not new kids. Well, I don't have grandkids or new kids. So I'm kind of helpful about that. Andy says he'll be in Pampanga starting tonight. All right. So, yeah, if Philippine Antics wants to be on, I'm sure I'll actually email them because I'm putting together a mass email of their published email addresses so they can see and they can choose to, along with Far East Poppy. So, John Calder, been married 18 years, lived in Leyte for 14 years. Yolanda survival. I'm not Joe, I'm John. My name is John and I am a Canadian. A little bit of a joke. John, that's great. And we'd love to hear your story. Please do send us an email and let us know if you'd be willing to cam up and be on the panel. BT says, cool, I'll be in AC tomorrow. So will I. I will be in AC tomorrow, but I will not be at breakfast tomorrow. I have company in town, and we have to keep these kids occupied. Man, if you don't keep them occupied, you're pretty much screwed. Huh. Green screen is on, apparently. Let me fix that. I don't know how that even happened. My cup is green. That's weird. Okay. BT, I'll send you an email. Absolutely. Brian, agree 100%. And I'm not asking any of them and giving me, I'm not rushing any of them and giving me grandkids. I bet you're not. Are you taxed on worldwide income there? Man, you're taxed. Am I taxed? That would be the real question because I can't answer your tax situation. But am I taxed here? Certainly. I pay value added tax, I pay sales tax. All right. But on worldwide income, no. No, you're not. Now, Arlene is. Arlene is a Philippine citizen, and whatever she earns from her U.S. earnings gets taxed here. Todd. Hello, Mike. 3 years, 9 months to go until we might be neighbors. Hey, Todd. Glad to see you here. I hope things are going well. That's for sure. Come on down. It's all fun. John, I'm a bit of an introvert. Don't put myself out there. Well, and that's understandable. That's very, very understandable. I'll email you, can choose. Thank you, BT. Thank you. And we will figure that out. Now, let's see here. I can delete that. I am trying to figure out how that happened because I don't see. I'm gonna. Green screen is on, but I want to turn it off. And I wonder if I have to do that. There we go. Just so you know, I ordered, there we go. I ordered one of these green screens to put behind my chair. And I wanted to put a hollow block house up. I'd be doing my live stream from the hollow block house. But the problem is it wasn't big enough. I'm actually going to have to get 2 poles and a green screen. And I'm not sure if Arlene is going to be if Arlene's going to be happy with me taking up more real estate in the spare bedroom. Off topic, what's the difference in benefits of a green card holder and a U.S. citizen? Well, a U.S. citizen can vote. A green card holder cannot. All right. Although some states are letting illegal aliens vote. But technically, a green card holder cannot. A U.S. citizen can come and go at will for the rest of their life. Arlene has to renew her green card every 10 years. So she's going to have to renew hers in about 5 years, I think, something like that. A green card holder, I don't know how it works. Yeah, green card, you can have a Social Security. Arlene has a U.S. Social Security number. But there's I'm sure there are other things, but Arlene did not want to be and deal with being a dual citizen with the U.S., and she did not want to have to deal with some other things. And she didn't, although Arlene lived in the U.S. for over 2 years, she was not a big deal to her. It really wasn't. Her family meant more to her than living in the U.S. And I understood that. And she's my wife, and I wanted to make her happy. So she can just file citizenship. It's cheaper. It's cheap enough. I think it's like $450 every 10 years for to renew her green card. All right, which is essentially a tourist visa, to be honest with you. But a little different, but still, she can renew it every 10 years. And that way she travels back and forth to the U.S. with me. No problems, no issues, the whole 9 yards. Dardos. Green card holders can be deported. That's true. That's very true. A green card holder can be kicked out of the country. Citizens cannot be kicked out of the country. Now, they can go to jail for life, but so can green card. The law is the law. But sooner or later, they usually get sent back to their country. Now, what's interesting is very few. I looked this up one time years ago, and so I'm sure the statistics may have changed. But American citizens are put to death and convicted of the death penalty far more than green card holders. But that statistic is kind of screwed up because there's so many more American citizens committing those types of crimes. But what was interesting was green card holders generally are never convicted of the death penalty. They'll be given 20 years to life and then deported after at some point. But who knows? BT, got a question. What is needed for me to leave the country? I have my 13A. You're going to need an exit clearance. Going home for a short visit, Mike. Can I get ECC at the airport when I leave? Yeah, you can get it at the airport. That's where we got it. Took about 15 minutes, but make sure you go when they're open. Give yourself plenty of time. and bring all the information that you need. I brought my passport, my ACR stuff. It was pretty simple. The advantage of Australian citizen is in worst case scenario, you'll be repatriated by the government towards, yeah. And the U.S. government will repatriate U.S. citizens also, but they'll charge them. Okay? And if you don't have what it costs, they hold your passport upon arrival, and you can't get another passport until you pay the U.S. government back. Usually, green card holders get deported before they start getting ballsy and do more heinous crimes. That's true, Andy. That is true, but you never know. You never know. But that is one of the major aspects. Oops, that was kind of rude. That's one of the major aspects. 59 in the room. Wow, that's great. I really appreciate that. So over the next couple of days, I'm going to be putting together a list and emailing people, inviting them, and see what kind of response we get, if they'd be interested in being a guest. And I'm going to add a couple more moderators, and I'm going to make Ruby, if I can ever figure out Ruby's actual YouTube name. When I try to add Ruby as a moderator, it can't find her. Oh, somebody gave me a thumbs down. Thank you. Thank you much. Every one of those thumbs up or down actually makes the algorithm move in a good situation. The algorithm doesn't care whether it's an up or down. Thank you so much. Dr. Richmond, your survey shows that surprisingly some guys, you know what? I didn't ask Dr. Richmond. I don't know. All right. And that's something I think that I would more so relate to a members only live stream, which I think I may have to do here in the near future. How do you initiate USA repatriation? You contact the embassy. You contact the embassy, and they evaluate whether you are in need of repatriation. Okay? And I don't know how they evaluate it. I know that they will say things like, well, who else can help pay for this? Who can we contact? How can we do this? But once the details get to where they're at, I don't know, man. I honestly don't. So, do U.S. green card? Yes, Ruby, yes. There is they have to take, everybody has to take a citizenship test in the United States. I can't remember how many questions it is or anything like that. But yes, they'll have to there's a specific amount of time they have to be in the U.S., and then they have to be eligible, and then they have to take the citizenship test, which quite a few Americans born and educated in America cannot pass that test. There are many blogs on it, many of them, actually. They need exams. No, Todd, they don't need to take any exam to get a green card. Arlen didn't have to take any well, no, let me rephrase that. They need a medical exam to get a green card, to get entry. Okay? They do need that, but they don't have to take a written exam. I was trying to be funny and liven things up here. Your guest started smiling when I asked that yesterday. Yeah, it does. But Today is kind of like I'm being a little bit serious today because I am really interested in these balanced debates. I know people love the um, um, people love the drama and love to see people fight and love to pick a side. Okay, I know that, but you know something, for us, it's an issue of achievement. What have we achieved? You know what? First, when we started this, we had no idea what we were doing. And you know, there are people that would argue right now, we still don't have any idea what we're doing. Okay? I mean, we didn't know how to post a YouTube video. We didn't know how to edit videos. We didn't know how to do this and that. All right. And, you know, so each step along the way, I mean, we're getting close to 4,000 subscribers. I mean, last I looked, we needed less than 100 to get to 4,000. I didn't even know we would make it to 1,000. So each one of those milestones was an actual achievement. That was the goal. So this live stream format, that's another achievement. Is it something we can figure out? Is it something we can make interesting and useful? Ruby says, interestingly, the exam in Australia is the same. Learn the history, culture of Australia. However, when Aussies were tested, most failed. Yeah. I mean, in the U.S., you have to understand, you know, the branches of government, what those branches do, and history, and I don't know what else, but those were the areas that a lot of people, Americans, born and educated in America, failed. Dardos says they give you 100 questions study guide, and the immigration will ask you 10 questions, usually like what the colors of the flag symbolize, date of independence, etc. There you go. Miyagi's in the house. Hey, Ruby. Yes, in part of the interview. How you doing, Miyagi? Ruby, 10 questions only? Here is 25, and you need to study the booklet. And I don't know any more about it than, yes, there's an exam. That I just do not know. I know that there is a study book. Is it a book with all the questions? I have no idea. I really and truly do not. But it's Todd, you also have to prove you can read and write English. For my wife, writing George Washington was the first president of the United States. That's interesting. I think that's reasonable. I mean, you would hope they can read and write. They better learn what stop means if they're going to drive. Better learn what poison means if they're buying stuff. Yeah, it makes sense. Miyagi, I was already in the Marine Corps when I applied for mine. I went in my uniform. They didn't ask me anything. It took me 2 months to become a citizen. There you go. So Miyagi got a little special treatment. Dinner time chat. Enjoying smoked sausages after the discussion. Wow, Steve. Nice. Very nice. I don't know what I'm going to have for lunch today. I'm going to wait for Arlen and the family to get back from the mall and then figure it out. And then this afternoon, evening, we're going down to the Pompong Sky something or another. It's a place with rides and stuff like that for the kids and games down in San Fernando. So we'll be going there this evening, trying to occupy these kids and have them see a good time. So that'll be on the evening agenda for sure. So, but I'm just super happy for those of you that have missed the live and are seeing this on replay. Very happy with the way the live went yesterday. All right. and I have a lot of confidence that if we can get participants, this is really going to end up being very fun. Ruby says, expat pensions from different countries receiving in the Philippines. That would be interesting. That really would. But that would require getting like people from multiple countries that are getting expats. But certainly, we could get people like, from the UK. That shouldn't be difficult. And from Australia, that shouldn't be difficult. Steve wants to know, those Arlene's kids. No, Arlene doesn't have children. We don't have children. She doesn't have any children. That's Arlene's father, her brother, her adopted sister, and her real sister's younger sister, 2 children, which are nieces, are here staying with us. They're leaving for a wedding, to the older sister's wedding in a couple of days. The younger sister would have come, except that the mother of the younger children would have come, except she's due any day now with another child. So travel was not in the equation. The 100 civics, history, and government questions and answers for the naturalization test are listed below. The civics test is an oral test, and the USCIS officer will ask the applicant up to 10 of them. There you go. John, in Canada, to get a federal job, you have to know both English and French because we're bilingual. Interesting. Some trivia. George Washington wasn't the first president of the United States. First president was John Hanson. Okay, I'd have to look that up. Miyagi says, you don't want your pension to be received and converted to Philippine pesos. And, but Miyagi, eventually you would, wouldn't it? I mean, if you're here, if you receive it in U.S. dollars, you bring it over in U.S. dollars, it's going to be converted to pesos at some point. And applicant must answer 6 out of 10 correctly to pass the civics portion. Family time is important. Yes, Steve. It's been unique having 2 little kids running around nonstop until they drop to sleep. I made the mistake of loading them up with candy yesterday. Big mistake. Sense of style. If an immigration answered John Hanson, he will fail the interview. That's from the PDF study guide. Okay, I get it. I don't even know who John Hanson is. Wow. I really don't know. I mean, in the study guide, does it even say John Hanson's name? Ruby's got another one. Expats who still have relationships in their country or burnt bridges. That's interesting. Yes, Ruby. Yes, indeed. Miyagi, keep your U.S. bank account open and just withdraw. Yeah, that's what we do. So basically, all of our income, whether it's Social Security, whether it's dividends, whether it's passive income, whether it is whatever it is, all goes into our U.S. bank account. Out of that, we save a portion in the U.S. All right, we add it to our emergency fund. All right, which will take care of most anything. Then once a month, we move cash. All right, because of the type of bank account we have, we don't pay wire fees. We move U.S. dollars into our U.S. dollar account, at the Philippine bank. And then from there, when we have time, we just simply move it online from our US dollar account into our peso account. And that way we keep it all. So we keep our biggest chunk of money is in the US, obviously. But out of that, we move money into our peso account. And then we do something a little different. What we do is I move a XYZ amount of money from the US dollar account to the peso account. Then we do two things that some people do. I'm sure somebody does it. We can't possibly be the only people that do it. All right. But I give Arlene a monthly allowance that is hers to do whatever she wants. We keep a certain amount of money. That is what we live off of. And 50% goes into our Philippine bank checking account, savings account. And that's, Arlene's for her future. So she has she has access to a large sum of money before she even has to go after the money in the U.S. Let's see. If a software engineer answered that question, Washington would be the president, number one, and Hansen would be president zero. Experts who share their finances equally with their Filipino partner or not. I do. I mean, Arlene has access to everything except my daughter's trust. She has access to all of it. But I wonder how many people are like that. Yes, Ruby, good question. I use East-West Bank dollar to peso account. My money is deposited and I use it here. There you go. There's a ton of different ways. Some work better for others. Ruby, only if she's working and the expat don't make a mistake of having her quit the job. Todd, if you get Social Security in the Philippines, you have to file paperwork to prove you're alive annually. You have to pick up the money in person. Nobody can pick it up for you. Lastly, the exchange. Todd, I get Social Security in the Philippines. I only get a letter every couple of years that says, well, hold on. No, let me, if you get Social Security, no, my Social Security goes into my U.S. bank account, not into my Philippine bank account. So, yes, I've heard before that you have to pick it up personally. Manny says, no, John Hanson was the president of the Continental Congress. That is different than the U.S. Rate is set. If you transfer it, you pick up the exchange rate. Yeah. Todd says, my Asawa has access to everything. Michael says, what the hell? You are in a coffee shop. No, I'm not in a coffee shop. I'm in our living area. This is our combination dining kitchen area of our condo. I have company in town and I've been kicked out of my office. They're using that bedroom. Miyagi, as a U.S. citizen, you have to keep some ties in the U.S. bank account is one and your federal tax line. Yes. And that is true because the IRS, although I very infrequently get a refund, the IRS deposits that refund into a U.S. bank. John, I split my income equally with my wife, half to her bank account, half to mine. See, and the difference is all of our bank accounts are in both of our names. But keep in mind, my wife is a green card holder in the U.S. with a Social Security number. She has a U.S. Social Security number. If you file and pay taxes, you don't need to prove you're alive. A dead man will never pay taxes. Ruby, how expat would feel if their Filipino partner is earning more than them? I'd be damn grateful. Just because, for the future, my wife's future. But that's a good question. I could go along with that. Yeah, that's a reasonable question. It really is. So, all right then. Well, look, folks, it's been an hour. I just wanted to touch base, get some ideas, see how everybody felt. I think everybody's been positive about wanting to continue that format and what type of expertise we would look for to put in there and what type of guests. So with that being said, I'd like to thank everybody and I'd like to wish you a great day and we'll see you later. Take care.